Dragongate's Rey de Parejas Tag League 2024 is upon us, so I'm just going to reuse the aesthetics from last year's video because, hey, I'm busy. Fortunately, Dragongate has provided a really concise Twitter thread this year, so I don't have to source all the assets myself. How nice of them. But I will tell you the reason behind each team if there is one. The winners get a Twin Gate title shot from the current outsider champions Kaito Kiyomiya and Alejandro of Pro Wrestling Noah. Once again, it'll be round-robin style with 2 blocks, with the winners facing each other, and it'll run from March 6th until April 10th. All matches have a 20-minute time limit, a victory is 2 points, a draw is 1 point, and a loss or double countout or no contest is 0 points. A block. Kota Minoura and Ben K of Gold Class, also known as Team Muscle. These two have already challenged for the Twin Gate and lost to Kiyomiya and Alejandro, so unless they're doing a redemption arc, I'm not expecting them to go all the way. There seems to be a change with Minoura coming, and he's kind of feuding with Yamato, but it's been a slow burn, and Ben K could honestly take over Gold Class as leader if anything changed with Minoura, but it depends on what they have in mind for Gold Class later. Big Boss Shimizu and Strong Machine J of Natural Vibes, who I'm calling Boss Machine. Natural Vibes has seen its share of turmoil lately, with Strong Machine J berating the others for letting Shun Skywalker mess with them by masking up a rookie and pretending a betrayal was coming. Honestly, he's not wrong. And that whole ruse from Shun could even be a distraction for a Strong Machine J turn. Pairing him with Shimizu should be fun, but expect some tension if they lose big. Dragon Kid and Naruki Doi. Let's call them Kidoi. This pair of independent veterans have been in a few units over the years, but this one is a reluctant team. Yamato refused to team with Dragon Kid because he was sick of tagging with him, which, okay, fair, and Shuji Kondo already had a partner. So Dragon Kid proposed the idea to Doi, who literally ran away from the suggestion, but he eventually relented. So we may see some comedy antics here, or they'll be stealthily awesome like M2K was last year. Toru Owashi and Shuji Kondo of Aganiso. For those not familiar, Aganiso was a heel unit dating all the way back to 2003 Toryumon. After Toryumon became Dragongate in 2004, Aganiso were all fired or quit depending on who you talk to, but they reunited in former Dragongate alternatives Dragon Door and El Dorado before showing up at the Toryumon reunion shows. But as singles wrestlers, Owashi spends most of his time in DDT, and Kondo splits his time between Dragongate and Noah. They're both beefy lads, so this is definitely going to be a base team. Kai and Gianni Valletta of Z-Brats, I'm just calling them weirdo energy because look at these guys. I wasn't sure about Gianni Valletta at first, but he does fit the strange chaos that's been a theme for Z-Brats, and Kai's reaction to guys like Valletta and especially Shun seems to be, this is fine. But Kai is nursing a bicep injury, and most of Valletta's matches have been very short or degenerated into chaos, so if anything I'd expect them to play spoiler, but not necessarily rack up big wins. Mozuku Tomonaga and Shuri Jo I'm calling Soryo Tag because they're the tag champions of Ryukyu Dragon Pro Wrestling in Okinawa. Mozuku Tomonaga is, as the name implies, just Punch Tomonaga with a mask on. He was sent to Ryukyu Dragon by Yamato as a masked assassin of sorts. Good luck with that. Shuri Jo is the mainstay of the Okinawa promotion and has a boxing background, and I like what I've seen from him. The cross promotion here is fun, but I don't see them giving Punch 2 title pushes back to back. B block. Luis Monte and Hyo are Big Hug, and currently the only members of Big Hug. While I can't say that Monte's Dreamgate run has been pushed as the top story in the company, I do think there's an interesting dynamic with having the Dreamgate and the Bravegate champions as a duo. It gives the Bravegate more credibility, which is needed for a long time, and it lets Hyo pick up any slack that Monte lacks as a foreign champion who isn't entirely fluent. I suspect they won't be taking a lot of losses here, but one thing to really keep an eye on is who pins this team, because any loss is going to lead to a title shot on either belt. Madoka Kikuta and Dragon Daya of D-Courage. That's right, D-Ass is back. I honestly would have loved to see Daya and Tanaka tag here, but with Yoshioka out for probably a couple more months, it makes sense to put Kikuta into the tag league coming off his big Dreamgate loss. I think they're a safe bet to reach the finals too, because D-Courage has fallen out of that main protagonist position ever since Big Hug formed, and it seemed like the original team were the ones being primed to beat Kiyomiya and Alejandro, so a big win here would make a lot of sense. KZ and UT of Natural Vibes. I'm calling them Underdog Vibes because they're the 2 guys in the unit who are the most used to fighting from the bottom. UT takes a lot of team losses, and, well, those of us who still believe in KZ time know why it's been such a difficult journey. There hasn't been any real tension between these two, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens when they take on the 3rd Natural Vibes pairing in this tournament. And on that note, Jason Lee and Jackie Funky Kamei, also known as Kung Fu Vibes. This is one of the most enduring tag teams on the entire roster, and my biggest hope is that if Jackie does join Big Hug, that Jason will either follow suit or that they'll still tag part-time in Kung Fu Masters. You really never get a bad match out of these two, and with the rest of the block having such a strong lineup, this team is always a solid dark horse pick. Yamato and Susumu Mochizuki. You could technically call them Final M2K or Junction 3, but let's go with Susumato. This seems like a random veteran pairing, and I'm a little surprised they didn't go with Yamadoi again, but they're 2 of the biggest workhorses on the roster, so you can expect a lot of really solid matches from these 2, especially since Susumu has recently declared that he's not sunsetting his career just yet and still has a lot left in the tank, including his Dreamgate shot at Champion Gate. Shun Skywalker and Ishin of Z-Brats. Let's just keep the portmanteau theme here and call them Ishun. Yoshi Kikato was originally Shun's partner, and I had a whole thing about how I was going to call them
Sky Cop.
but then Kato injured his knee, and now Isshin is his replacement. Shown as the catalyst for the recent tension in Natural Vibes, so having them in the same block as 2 of the 3 Vibes teams could lead to some big mind games. But as the current Dragongate champions, this team probably isn't also getting a Twin Gate shot, but that doesn't mean they won't still rack up some big wins. The tournament finals between the 2 block winners will take place at Korrigan Hall on April 10th. Last year's tournament took place before Champion Gate, but this year's positioning seems to point to Dead or Alive being the title shot for the winner. Aside from only 3 dates on the network, the entire rest of the tournament is going to be free on YouTube, so make sure you keep track of Dragongate's official channel for any of the tournament matches that aren't on the network. If you want to know more about Dragongate, check out the rest of my playlist on this channel. Thanks for watching.